Good morning, everybody. So, here we go. Let's get into another Honest RC review. Got a good one for you. Up here on the shelf, here she is, the Tamiya Blackfoot. Now, the Blackfoot is a very user-friendly, very budget-friendly truck from Tamiya, originally created in the 80s. It shares a lot of stuff like its chassis and basically all the running gear with a lot of other Tamiya models like the Monster Beetle, the Brat, the Frog, and I believe the Bush Devil. I mean, they're different colors, but all the parts are interchangeable. Now, as you can see, this one does not have the stock body. The stock body is a Ford Ranger, one of the old F100 Rangers. Mine has some modifications to it because I can, and I did. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of this chassis. Now, the battery tray on the underside, there's a pin that holds the tray closed. I've got a zip tied because mine didn't come with the pin. Now, generally on the Blackfoots and the other, ORV chassis Tamiyas, the rear ends are kind of junk. The stock rear ends that these come with, the hex drives and the output shafts and all, just basically really just those shafts in general are very weak and flimsy. This one, the way I got it, it came from a racer. The guy used to race it back in the day, and he put an upgraded, I believe it's the Thorpe rear end in this thing, so this thing can handle the brushless system I got in her. I think it's a 3900 kV brushless system. I think that's what it says, if I remember correctly. And yeah, it's a 3900 kV brushless system, and this thing handles it no problem with that rear end. However, that rear end is pretty pricey to find nowadays, so just keep that in mind when you're building one of these. Now, I say they're budget friendly because you can find these kits all over the place, either the Monster Beetle, the Blackfoot, the Frog, and the Brat. You can find kits anywhere, and they're all, they can be found for under $150, under $200, depending on if you get the kit or ready to run, and that's also depending on what electronics you want to put in it. Now, this chassis is very easy to work on. Body's held on with 3 body pins, and that's it. And then she just comes right off. Chassis is very easy to work on. I got some extra stuff in here. I got a whole sound unit in here, so that's kind of taking up a little bit more space than normal. But your steering servo goes under here, and on the originals, like this one was, the throttle servo for the mechanical speed control was here also. It's now empty, aside from the steering servo, so I just got the ESC up here with some double-sided sticky tape, and that's it. And the receiver just kind of hanging on. But now everything is very accessible. These are very easy to work on. As you can tell, there's not much to them. I made these custom aluminum plates, but the stock plastic ones for the shocks, shocks are easily accessible in the rear, because it's got this nice kind of cantilevered setup. Very cool. I love the design. Up front here, everything is, again, fairly simple. It's all pretty straightforward on how to remove and replace parts. Shocks, again, very easy to get a hold of. Everything is, we want to swap them out real quick. Boom, that's it. It's right there. Front bumper, something happens and snaps, or you break the stock one, and very easily it's just 3 screws and boom, done. Put a new one on, good to go. Body mounts, 2 screws. The front mount is good. The rear body mounts, you know, there's 1 screw that holds it to the chassis at the bottom, and then there's a brace that connects the both of them together. Boom, 3 screws, you know, each side. It's done. Very easy to replace. You know, everything else, it's a solid chassis. I mean, I jumped this thing. It drifts because these tires are kind of meh when it comes to grip. Now this thing will do burnouts and donuts all day long just because these tires aren't the greatest. But then again, these are the tires that it came with, so that's kind of just why I've stuck with them for now until I can find, you know, some replacements, some ones that I want to put on and run. So I mean, they're not, I mean, they work alright off-road, but they're not like super grippy or anything. They slide around quite a bit on asphalt. So, man, like I said, I'll just hit the throttle. The ass end will tuck in, and it'll do a burnout. It'll leave, and then it'll slide sideways. You know, it does donuts pretty well with these tires. But I mean, again, you're not just trying to do donuts. You want to drive it around. You want to jump it. You want to do all sorts of cool monster truck stuff with this thing. So, if you're going to get one to modify, modifications I would suggest are tires, shocks all the way around. I haven't done the fronts yet, but I will be eventually. Shocks all the way around. If you can find one, that Thorpe dip, the Thorpe diff for the rear. If you can find one that isn't, you know, over $100 itself, or you don't run brushless, so you run it on a, you know, a brushed motor, a nice easy setup. It'll handle 2-cell, no problem. I run all my stuff on 2-cell, and, you know, this brushless with the 2-cell, this rear end can handle it. I'm not sure how much the stock one would handle, depending on how you run it or how you have it set up gear-wise, but, I mean, you might be able to get it to take and not implode on itself. But just a couple of things to look out for. The rear end especially. You know, don't overdo it with a huge motor. Don't overdo it too much with gearing. And I mean, if you want to put a heavy duty, you know, or go brushless with it, then I guess I would suggest leave these tires, so that way it's not, these tires aren't grabbing the surface and putting all the strain on those gears and those hexes, you know, and the output shafts and the rear drive shafts, because there's got to be a breaking point if these tires were to grip. And, you know, if this was all stock and I were to just go full throttle from a dead stop and the tires were to grip, the breaking point would be somewhere in the drive line, and, you know, so you'll be replacing parts left and right. So, I mean, you kind of gotta take the good with the bad. You know, the rear end is just kind of a bit weak, again, like I said, unless you can find the one that I have here. But overall, I would give the Blackfoot 7 out of 10 rating, because it is very budget friendly, it's very easy to work on, and it is a fun truck to drive around. I love driving this thing around. I love doing donuts with it. You know, I'll take it off road in the dirt and do some jumps with it, and it's just a fun truck to buzz around with. It's got some pretty good ground clearance, so I mean, you can go over some decently tall terrain, you know, low cut grass, dirt, gravel, some, you know, small rocks, sand. It's definitely a capable 2-wheel drive monster truck, you know, so, and parts for these things are so readily available, it's not even funny. You can find parts just about anywhere. So, thanks for sticking around to the end. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away. You can reach me at any of the social medias that are linked in the description below, or just comment right on the video. If you like this kind of content, feel free to hit that subscribe button and hit the little notification bell to be notified about all my newest videos. Stay tuned for more, and if you have, any questions about anything in specific, any of the trucks specifically you see behind me, if you want me to go more in depth on any one of them, or, any of the ones over there as well, if you have any questions about anything specific, feel free to ask, and I will, go more in depth and try and answer and help however I can. Have a good day, everybody.